Well, Mel Chin isn't a hard act to follow or anything. Thanks, Mel. Well, I will join other voices and ask that you join me before I start introducing Terrell James, and with a shout out to the Art League for the awesome work that Michael, the staff, and the board are doing. I've been away for a few years, but boy, are they upping the game here. Well, I've had the privilege in my entire adult life, I've had the privilege of working in art museums. And many of those years working here in Houston. While I no longer live or work here, and art museums, I've learned over the years, have lots of problems, lots of issues, lots of drama. The good news is that this profession has afforded me the opportunity to meet and work with great, extraordinary artists like Terrell James. I met Terrell over 30 years ago, and I could share with you tonight many fine personal qualities I've observed of her over the years: her gentle spirit, her quirky, wacky humor, her brilliant insights, her deeply Southern sensibility. And she has great hair. Thank you. When I first met Terrell all those years ago, I was impressed by the breadth of her intelligence and her talent. I thought to myself that she could have succeeded in just about any profession she might have chosen. Writer, professor, archivist, museum curator, designer, philosopher, spiritual leader. I thought she would have made a great astronaut, because Terrell would explore every corner of the cosmos, collecting those weird lunar rocks. You know what I'm talking about. But the profession she chose for herself long ago was one of the most challenging and heroic careers of all, that of the artist. And what we really understand about any artist does not come through personality, in my view, but rather through their art. It's their gift to us, a total offering of body, mind, and spirit. What Terrell herself wrote of Cy Twombly's art as the outpouring of an entire existence. So what do we know of Terrell through her art? If I had to select just one quality I've found in her creative production, it would be heroism, in the old sense of the word. A heroism that requires intuition, authenticity, fearlessness, and love. Art making is, for Terrell James, an intuitive, authentic, and trusting act, not the outcome of any intellectual or rational direction. Heroism requires trust in one's intuition, following one's own inner voice and vision. In an essay about Cy Twombly, Terrell described the artist as heroic and painterly. And as the saying goes, it takes one to know one. Terrell sees Twombly with the recognition of a twin, of a doppelganger. She writes of Twombly's work, the sense of the brush leading the mind rather than the opposite, made his work seem the outpouring of an entire existence rather than the judgments produced of a limited rationality. Another aspect of heroism requisite to any epic journey is fearlessness, an acceptance of whatever may come. Over many years now, I've seen Terrell's willingness not just to accept, but to embrace and tackle whatever life brings, including opposite aspects of human nature and experience. She wrote in one of her statements about moving her studio to an industrial area near downtown and the resulting new direction in her work. She noted the change from abstracted, internalized landscape to a new, more mechanical language, taking place in a zone between evocation and naming, between image and object, an active, polarized space between the twin magnets of my inner and outer worlds, by turns attracting and repelling each other. One of my favorite artist poets, William Blake, had a lot to say about such opposites. His theory of contraries was summarized in The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, in which he writes, "Without contraries is no progression. Attraction and repulsion, reason and energy, love and hate are necessary to human existence." He felt these contraries were the two contrary states of the human soul, and that they coexist in human beings. What I find profoundly moving in Terrell's work, and in her clear-eyed self-knowledge about herself, about her work, is this fearless embrace of every aspect of life, in which is demonstrated the nature of Terrell's own fearless character. Her artwork communicates the spiritual and internal through the external and visual. Terrell welcomes the challenge of the rough, gritty contrary, as well as the lush beauty of nature seen in her gorgeous field studies. This embrace of all that she encounters in life is given her full intellectual, spiritual, and creative focus and power. Following intuition and fearlessness, the heroism of this artist's epic journey also requires love and humanity. Another observation by William Blake invokes the level of humanity we find in Terrell's heroic art. The tree which moves some to tears of joy is in the eyes of others only a green thing that stands in the way. Some see nature all ridicule and deformity, and some scarce see nature at all. But to the eyes of the man or woman of imagination, nature is imagination itself. I do believe William Blake would find a kindred spirit in Terrell James, an artist whose art offers a vision of nature, of imagination, and heroism in this world, capable of moving us to tears of joy. Please join me in welcoming this year's Artist of the Year, Terrell James.
Thank you all. This is a wonderful award. And I don't remember the name of the artist, but each one of us has a different award this year instead of three the same. It's beautiful. So thank you. What does he say? Tony Sonnenberg. I should have known that. Thank you, Tony. We must meet. Deborah, thank you very much for that generous introduction. I'm thrilled to be here tonight. I think this is a great experience for many of us in the art world. Here, there are lots of friends here tonight who have received this award different years. I'm happy to be in the club with them all. I want to thank Michael and Jenny, Teresa Southwell, who put together this beautiful catalog we're all getting to have one of. I hope you will take it home and think about reading the essay, which is by a friend, German friend who lives in New York, Stephanie Buhmann. It's a lovely scholarly piece I'm thrilled to have. I would say it's my favorite publication I have to date, so I'm thrilled about it. So I want to talk a little bit about this experience here. First of all, thank you all for being here tonight. And so many of you I've known for decades. There's a great sense of community and an honor about being recognized as being part of this place, where I grew up for the most part and began studying as a child. So many people ask me, how did you decide you were an artist? And I think it's pretty obvious for a lot of us as children. I remember as a very small child, 2 or 3, that I made a mark on a piece of paper, and it seemed like I was dividing and making a difference in a plane that was more than just that surface, but maybe the most powerful thing I could ever have done as a little child. I did also want to be, besides an artist, an astronaut, Deborah, and maybe a ballerina, but I didn't do the work. But anyway, from a very early age, I did think of myself as being called to this idea of being an artist. I just want to say one more thing, which is a kind of sad thing to me, but many times I was given more attention because of the gender ambiguity of my name. So, as one friend of mine said to me earlier today, masculinity was equated, at least in my era, with seriousness. So I remember telling people let's say I was in my 20s by then, that I was an artist, and everybody said, "Oh, that's so cute, that's lovely." Like it was kind of in the Jane Austen era, sort of like being able to play an instrument for the group that comes to visit. So it was an odd thing, but I guess in many ways I was given a weird advantage by being considered male. This is something I just wanted to say tonight because of what's going on, but I've experienced this throughout my life. I remember one of my first exhibitions, I was giving tours, and this lovely woman, brilliant, articulate, probably 50-year-old woman, came, and we probably spent 45 minutes going through the exhibition, and I was talking about each piece and what it meant to me. I think I was probably only 23 or something at the time, and she said at the end of the tour, she said, "Oh my God, you know so much about this work. You must be married to the artist." My whole life, my name has been a little confusing. First day of school, first grade, you're trying to sort of disappear into the crowd, and there's that moment about the explanation of your last name and the comma. So we would all go through this, and the teacher looking through these cards. Okay, one little boy wasn't listening. Where is James Terrell? This is the day that you really want to be the most invisible, right? The first day of school. Anyway, I kind of made it through that, but then later there have been other areas of confusion. A lot later, the delightful confusion of my name with James Terrell. Terrell James. Well, James is a great, generous friend, and he explained to me that all of the misspellings, various spellings, I guess you would say variations of the spellings of our name, come from, it was a Norman invasion word, misspelled again and again, with Y's, I's, E's, U's, but it meant little tower. I like that. I like being a little tower. That's all for tonight. Thank you very much. I love you all. Thanks for being here.